I actually want to see some about the gameplay, but let's see the builder first. Actually, let's see the builder first.
Here's 25 useful tips to help you make the best possible build on day 1 of NBA 2K25. Be sure to watch the whole thing through, and I guarantee you'll have a better idea of what you want to make and how you want to make it before you play the game. Drop a like, comment, or sub. It goes a long way to tip certain builds. You'll want to look for build heights with tip number 1, port. Now let's get right into it. These tips are in no particular order, but starting off with tip number 1 in the builder is that in order to maximize certain builds, you'll want to look for build heights with good tier 2 badges if you want to best utilize your max +1 badge perk. You'll hear me talk a lot about this max +1 badge perk, as it's the only way to extend a badge level past its maximum potential, and you get 2 of them. So you get 1 for tier 1 and 1 for tier 2. Some good examples of good tier 2 badges are Paint Patroller at 6'8" or shorter, Shifty Shooter at 6'10" and taller, Posterizer at 6'11".
How can you be a shifty shooter at 6'10"? What?
And taller, Limitless Range at 7'1" and taller. If you want to look at the entire list of badge tiers by height, we have a free tool at NBA2KLab.com that should be live by the time this video ends, and I'll leave that link in the video and in the description down below. A lot of people might not know this yet, but the driving dunk attribute costs the cheapest when making 6'8" and 6'9" builds. I went and put 87 driving dunk on every height in the builder that I possibly could.
What height are y'all gonna make your builds this year? Like, what you feeling? Especially the point guards. Like, I'm trying to get a sense of what's going on, because apparently, like, you can't even make your point guard 6'8" this year, so that kind of nips it in the bud for me. In 24, I made a 6'8" point guard, 3-level threat. I modeled it after Paul George, but apparently you can't be making demigod builds this year. So at point guard, highest you can go is 6'7". So what height are y'all thinking? I'm thinking like maybe 6'4". Highest I go 6'6", but like I'm trying to go for like a James Harden, maybe a Kyrie build. I don't know. I was also thinking about Ja Morant, you know, because I always usually go with Ja Morant, but we'll have to see. I don't know.
And here's what the overalls look like at each height. As you can see, the 6'8s and the 6'9s had the cheapest hit to your overall, followed by 6'6", 6'7", 6'10", and then 7 foot. And in general, dunking costs a good bit more on smaller builds, but we'll talk about those in a little bit. Did you know that cap breakers and the max +1 badge perk can stack? So try to plan out your builds accordingly to get the most value out of it. For example, if a 99 3-point costs 3 or 4 more toward your overall as opposed to just going with a 98 3-point, planning to use a cap breaker or 2 can save you valuable attribute points if you don't mind waiting to unlock them. And then an additional tip, and it's an important one, you can't use a cap breaker to go past your max potential. Your max potential is the highest rating that your build allows, which is shown on the screen before the main builder when you pick your wingspan, weight, and height. The only way to go above your max potential when it comes to badges is by using your max +1 badge perk. Zach Timmerman had another post about dribbling that says strength is needed if you want to win physical body up interactions, and one of the most—
I don't believe that. They said the same shit about 24. Strength is gonna be a big thing this year, and it wasn't even that deep for real. Like, niggas with 60 strength is freaking bumping you, even though they have low perimeter and no strength. I'm not buying it. Whatever these niggas say that is important this year, I'm not buying it until the game plays out.
Most important things when making a build in NBA 2K25 is to make sure to increase your agility for off-ball movement. I recommend increasing this attribute so you don't feel too sluggish on the court. Lockdowns especially need agility for the on-ball menace badge, and sharpshooters even need agility for shifty shooter, but all builds should have at least decent agility if possible. Did you know post control is very cheap on 6'9 builds? I put 85 post control on 4 different build heights and it looked like this. The post control on a 6'9 was far and away the cheapest out of those 4 heights. Don't have access to the most elite dunk pack. Driving dunk is 6'4", which means 6'3s and below don't have access to the most elite dunk package in the game. Also 6'4s, which means 6'3s and below don't have access to the most elite dunk package in the game. Also 6'4s cap out at Hall of Fame unpluckable with a 96 ball handle. So the only way to get legend at 6'4 is by using a max +1. Now this might sound crazy, but a 99 3-point rating and a 99 ball handle on a 5'9 build is very cheap compared to all other build heights. I put both of these attributes to 99 just by them.
Ankle Assassin increases the ability to break down the defender across the map. Okay, I like the sound of that. That's kind of tough, and that must be what the legend shit looks like. Okay, it's pretty tough, can't lie.
themselves, and I still have 5 overall left to work with. Which leads me to my next tip, which is smaller builds in general have more attributes to work with. The new Paint Patroller badge, aka Anchor, is now available at 6'6" with a max badge level of bronze. In 2K24, Anchor was only available to 6'7" builds and taller. Another thing to mention is that High Flying Denier maxes out at the silver level for 6'6s as well. And now we're about halfway through, and 6'7" builds with minimum wingspan and max +1 badge perk can unlock gold limitless range, whereas in 2K24 they only had access to silver. If you move to 6'6s, they can now get Hall of Fame limitless range also by utilizing the max +1 badge perk. This requires you to have at least a 6'7" wingspan or shorter with a 93 3-point rating. Now, contrary to popular belief, many people have been saying that we'll be given more attributes to work with, and while that's mostly true for most heights, with my short time in the builder, it felt like wing builds seemed pretty similar in terms of the amount of attributes that were given. Here's a 6'8" build in 2K24 compared to the same build in 2K25. Both of these builds have nearly the same exact attributes, with 25 only having a slight edge. Then if you remember the immovable enforcer badge, it was very powerful in 2K24. It's now a tier 2 badge for all build heights in 2K25. And then for my lockdowns, I made a 6'7" pure lockdown build with 99 perimeter and 99 steal only, which capped out at a 83 overall, which doesn't leave much room for anything else. So again, planning for and gaining cap breakers can be very valuable when trying to maximize the value of each build. I also tried to get on-ball menace to legend in combination with legend immovable enforcer, but I wasn't able to because of the agility restriction at this height and weight combo. And then if you're a stretch from 6'8 to 7'3, just know that your limitless range caps out at bronze unless you plan on using your max +1. Another tip I thought that was interesting was that wingspans have been nerfed, and almost all maximum wingspans have been shortened by 1 to 2 inches. For example, a 6'9 used to have a max wingspan of 7 feet 7 inches, but now in 2K25 it caps out at 7 foot 5 inches. And this next tip is a good one, and rebirth builds max out to the highest players overall. Here's a screenshot from Zach Timmerman, and this one just dropped, and it's actually a gem, so now you don't have to grind out the overalls for every single player you.
This also, Rebirth works a bit differently in 2K25. Your initial max overall with Rebirth will be equal to the highest overall rating you've previously reached. Anything 90 and up will be equal to the highest overall rating you previously reached. Okay, that's good. So does that mean, like, if I make a Rebirth build, it's going to start off at 90 or whatever I have? Okay, I like that.
You make. He says rebirth works differently in 2K25. Your initial max overall with rebirth will be equal to the highest overall rating you previously reached. These next 5 tips will be lists you can easily reference to help decide on your first build or help decide between wingspans and badge levels. And first up is the 2K25 badge height requirements. I'm going to run through these lists pretty quickly and talk about them if I see something interesting, but feel free to pause or take a screenshot. Next, we have the absolute max 3-point rating for
max 3-point rating for each height. So 5'9 to 6'5", 99. Okay. Then 6'6", 94, 6'7", 89, 6'8", 88. 6'6" might be the way to go then, low key, or maybe a 6'5", because I don't know. I'm thinking like, if you want an all-round build, you probably go with a 6'6". 6'6" point guard. I can't speak for the big men because I don't really play as a big, but I think a 6'5", 6'6" point guard. But I don't really care about 3-ball too tough because, like, as long as I learn my shot cues, I think I'd be alright, and that should be the case for most of you as well. But I'm not gonna lie, I don't know. I'm leaning more towards 6'6" though. Definitely.
For each build height, and we can see 6'5s again max out at a 99, while 6'6s also didn't change with a max potential 3-point rating of 94. Then we have the maximum mid-range rating for each height, and for some reason the 6'10 caps out at a 93 mid-range, while 6'9, 6'11s, and 7-footers still have a 94 mid-range. And you can also see a nice jump from 6'9 to 6'8 as well. Next is the max ball handle for each height, which
ball handle, this is the breaker. So 6'5" is 95 and 6'6" is 93. That's a tricky one, not gonna lie. But again, I don't think a 2 attribute point difference is such a deep thing. I think 6'6" should be fine. Again, that's just me, because what difference is 2 attribute points gonna make to your ball handle? Not much. So you might as well just go with 6'6" and have good defense. But let's see what the defensive stats are.
Can only tell us so much until we find out the animation requirements. And then lastly,
Oh shit, I forgot about that. Yeah, animation requirements. Yeah. Yeah. I forgot about that, I'm not gonna lie. But max wingspan shooting caps. What the heck does that mean? Oh, okay, yeah. Oh. But if it's short like that, then that means your defense is definitely gonna take a hit. That's tricky. A 6'6" guard with 6'1" wingspan. I'm not checking that.
Made a list of the max 3-point and mid-range ratings for each height as well, while having a maximum wingspan. This will be especially useful for defensive builds. You can reference these caps with the free badge requirements tool at NBA2KLab.com, where it shows you the thresholds for each badge level. And that is all we have for the 25 useful tips. I hope this video helps you make more informed decisions about—
Nigga, that was 20 tips. What do you mean? Look. Okay, maybe it was an error. But I don't know, man. I really don't know. I think I'm leaning more towards a 6'6" though. I can't really remember what he was saying about defensive. He didn't really even talk about defensive like that, to be fair, but I don't know. What do you think y'all are gonna make for the point guards out there? I can't speak for the big man. I don't know. I don't jack bigs. I think it's kind of pointless because you don't really get the ball like that. Okay, that 6'8", 6'9" tip is huge. Appreciate it. Hate that everyone. Let's go. PGs. See, nobody jacks centers. Nobody jacks bigs. It's a point guard year this year, nigga. If you're still playing as a big, it's tough. It's tough. Unless you could shoot the ball, but if you're making a big that can't shoot, can't pass. No, actually, you don't really need to pass as a big. But if you can't shoot, can't drive, you're useless. And have a good defense, you're useless, bro. The amount of people that make bigs and they can't. Oh, what the heck, boy? You can't be showing that on YouTube. Come on, man. Damn.